When you think of the Rottweiler, this is probably not the image that comes to mind. The Rottweiler's a working dog, originally bred to drive cattle and serve as a guardian and protector. Because of its size and imposing appearance, the Rottweiler is too much dog for a lot of people. But in fact, the Rottweiler can be a loyal and friendly companion, and today it's a very popular pet. Its easygoing nature and great intelligence make the Rottweiler a perfect candidate to work as a therapy dog, like Mr. T here. Mr. T is a 5-year-old Rottweiler who wears many hats, literally. But his most visible and most important role is that of therapy dog. Mr. T's owner, Paula Singota, has been involved with Rottweilers for over 30 years. 11 years ago, she founded the Our Best Friends Therapy Dog program as a promise to a dear friend who succumbed to cancer.
In the last 3 weeks of her life at Scripps Memorial Hospital, when she was feeling well enough, I'd whip her into the wheelchair, and I would take her down to the lobby and bring her Rottweiler, Carly, in to visit her. And it made such a difference in her attitude for the next 2 or 3 days that before she died, I promised her that I'd work on a therapy dog program. I wanted to have a program where people volunteered. They trained their dogs, they would visit hospitals, they would visit nursing homes. But I wanted it to go a step or two further than just a visit. I wanted these dogs to actually be part of the treatment team. Even though we have dogs that pass both of the tests and are wonderful obedience dogs and lovely personalities, they may never make a therapy dog because they don't care about the general public.
Yes, we are. We're good old buddies, aren't we, sweetheart? We've been through a whole bunch together, huh?
This is one reason why Rottweilers make such good therapy dogs, because they genuinely love people. If a dog is beautifully trained, doesn't care about strangers, it will stress that dog to be a therapy dog, to be forced to visit with strangers. So we only take dogs that are genuinely gregarious and very outgoing. They need to walk up to a stranger and say, "Hi, would you pet me? You're the only person that exists right now."
Which suits Mr. T to, well, a T.
He can't wait to get up to the hospital. And he makes the choice as to which one he visits first. Usually it's a patient that he sees often. And if it's a new patient, he'll go over and introduce himself. And a lot of times will automatically put his own paws up in their lap and visit with them.
Patients are always surprised as to which Mr. T will show up. Will it be Mr. T the cowboy? Will he be dressed for a luau? Paula found out long ago that not everybody loves a big dog, but everybody loves a clown.
Not everyone in the hospital is an animal person. Not every animal person's a dog person. So we started our acute care animals, dogs, wearing costumes to kind of make them a little more amenable to all the patients. We've given them something else to talk about besides their illness. Look who came to visit me today.
To Paula and Mr. T, there's no better way to spend an afternoon.
It is the most wonderful, heartwarming use of your time and your energy that you can use. But it also hurts when you lose a patient. When you don't feel well, you have a headache, and you say, "It's Thursday, and I have to bathe my dog, and I have to drive a half hour down the hill, and gee, my head hurts so bad, maybe I'll stay home." And then you think of the patient who's waiting for that dog to come visit. It may be the only person that visits them. It may be the only smile they get all week. You take 2 aspirin, bathe your dog, and go to the hospital. And after you're there for 2 minutes, you don't have a headache anymore.
Oh, you're pretty. Yes, you are.
Mr. T is not the only Rottweiler who's had an impact on the lives of others. So has his friend, Carl. Carl's owner, Alexandra Day, is the author responsible for the widely successful series of children's books beginning with Good Dog Carl. The hero of the stories of Carl, a babysitting Rottweiler and mischievous co-conspirator.
The first book was in 1985, and it came from an idea. I saw an old 19th century German cartoon about a little dog that gets left with a baby, and my husband said that could be expanded into a whole book. And we had two dogs at the time, an Irish Terrier and a Rottweiler, and I liked the combination of the big guard dog with the little baby, and besides I wanted the baby to ride, so I wanted the big dog. So that's how it started.
12 books later, the Carl series is going strong. Carl embodies all that is good about the breed.
Ready, bang!
Their protective instincts and their inherent gentle nature.
It's not too deep.
Why Carl has had such an appeal is very complicated. I think it has to do with our relation to dogs, our desire to have them be almost human, to understand what's going on. And one of the things about the formula is, of course, the mother is completely in the dark about what's going on, and they get away with all this mischief and then make it all right in the end.
Paula, Alexandra, Mr. T and Carl pay frequent visits to the Grossmont Hospital Cancer Center to meet some fans and spread some cheer.
Now, still for sale.
Through Carl, Alexandra first became familiar with the therapy dog program, and it's been an important part of both their lives ever since. Alexandra was asked to paint a portrait of the hospital's first therapy dog, Paula Singota's beloved Hearts. Her exposure to the use of Rottweilers in these programs reveals the powerful impact an animal can make on a human life.
Well, when are you going to be back to work?
I had a child in a wheelchair who was paralyzed, and so I had the dog over next to him and his hand, and the child picked up his fingers and kind of petted his nose, and I said something about it to the nurse, and she said, "Oh, he can't do that. That hand's paralyzed." I don't know. That hand went up and patted that dog's nose, so who knows?
That same nature that makes the Rottweiler a good therapy dog also makes them ideal as family pets, provided they're well trained.
Joshie likes to play ball with me and swim with me. Josh is one of my best friends, and I love her very much.
The Brill family of Farmingdale, New York, truly believe that their Rottweiler Sasha is a perfect example of the breed's loving nature.
We've always heard good stories about Rottweilers, that, you know, they're very caring and loving dogs, basically. And my father likes big dogs, so, like, basically he wanted something that was going to be, like, protective and, like, you know, very loving and everything.
She's a great family pet, and we all love her. I mean, we think about her all the time. She's just a total member of the family.
Before Sasha, the Brills had an Akita. Stuart prefers the family pet to play the traditional role of a watchdog.
We decided we wanted to have a big dog that would feel secure around the house, but yet would be nice with kids and the family. And we decided on a Rottweiler. We read all about Ruddies. And we went ahead and got this beautiful 6-month-old puppy. So we have a large property, and we wanted to have a dog that we could leave outside as well as inside, and she would peruse the property and kind of keep strangers away that wouldn't belong here. And we went ahead and got a Rottweiler. We've been pleased ever since.
Shortly after bringing home Sasha, Stuart realized that the family's new Rottweiler met all their expectations as a good watchdog and a great family pet.
I would say she's a wonderful dog. She's part of the family, and we are very, very happy to have her.
She grew up with me since I was little.
Look, Joshie, this looks just like you.
She's very good with her. She knows not to be rough with her, even though she knows she can overpower her at any moment. So it's, like, you know, really good.
But there is more to the ever-versatile Rottweiler. It's a working dog that loves an athletic challenge. As with all dogs, proper obedience training is essential. But training can be fun too, especially if the ultimate goal is to get a Rottweiler involved in any of their many athletic activities. One such activity is the obstacle course for dogs, called agility.
I started working with agility with a trainer because I found my dogs trained in obedience or did their obedience training much better if I interspersed the training with a few obstacles and some fun. Training needs to be fun because to get a dog to work, an intelligent dog to work, you have to use motivation. And I found that agility obstacles were fabulous motivation. It's fun to them, but it also gives them boundaries.
When not running around an agility course, some Rottweilers can be found rounding up a few of their animal friends. A Rottweiler's pretty much a natural when it comes to a get-together.
The Rotties still have a very strong work ethic, not necessarily herding ethic. They have a lot of prey drive, and you can use that. But the very fact that you can take a Rottweiler and tell them, I need you to perform this task, and they want to so badly, they'll work through the tough times.
Paula's friend Terry Parrish owns many breeds of dog, but it's the Rottweiler herding instinct she finds most impressive.
The best herding dogs know, but they certainly are rivaling in terms of temperament and disposition any of the AKC dogs I'm seeing.
But with any kind of training, you don't want to put the cart before the horse. But to harken back to their working class roots, you just might want to put the Rottweiler in front of the cart. Paula's organised weekly karting sessions with fellow dog owners in a park near her home in San Diego. Whilst karting can be loads of fun for the people, it's the dogs that love the attention and the activity.
These dogs love to work. You get their harness out, and I have 4 or 5 dogs at home fighting me to get into the harness. They want a job to do, and they love to cart.
As with any fun activity, safety comes first.
Safety is the #1 in everything we do with these dogs. So we have a lot of people that we see in the park, and they go, oh my goodness, you're making that dog do that. We're not making the dog do that. The dogs wouldn't do it if they didn't want to.
Not only do they want to do it, they were bred to do it.
In Europe, dogs were used for draft because they couldn't grow a lot of hay, so they couldn't own an oxen or a horse to do their draft work. The dogs had more than one job to do. They were the draft animal. They took the milk to market. They hauled wood. They took the kids to Sunday school. That was a multi-purpose animal.
Whilst the Rottweiler is believed to be descended from the rugged herding dogs of ancient Rome, the primary development of the dog we know today took place in a German town called Das Rottweil, or the Red Tile, named when excavations uncovered red tiles of old Roman villas. In the middle of the 19th century, with the advent of railroads, the practice of herding cattle to market was outlawed, and the number of Rottweilers dwindled. But thanks to dedicated breeders and a demanding standard, Rottweilers are back, stronger than ever, in Germany. Anton Spindler breeds and trains Rottweilers in Germany, not far from the town where it all began. Like many German breeders, Anton strives to preserve the breed's original instincts. One way is through an activity known as Schutzhund, the German word for protection dog. The sport of Schutzhund is designed to enhance the breed's natural hunt and prey instincts in a controlled environment.
I don't compromise on the character. This is the biggest point. And of course, according to what I already have and what I already have achieved, I like to see very high qualities in the conformation part and of course also in the working parts.
Here.
His quest for perfection shows in his own backyard with a young male named Fausto, a direct descendant of the original German herding stock.
He's a very good dog, very confident dog, which is sometimes also a little bit of his problem because sometimes he gets a little bit too cheeky. He goes a little bit over the top, and then I have to tell him, listen, this is not what you're allowed to do, but this is part of my training.
Despite his pupil's adolescent antics, Anton thinks Fausto has the potential to be a champion performer, as well as an excellent specimen of the breed.
He's just, as far as conformation part, just a super dog. He has a very, very strong head, very strong back line and bottom line, and is very good in angulations. So as far as a breeding project, call him just breeding project, he's just excellent.
But for Anton, Rottweilers are more than just nice to look at. They're a lifelong commitment. Whether in Germany or in the United States, one point Anton is adamant about is the owner taking responsibility for the dog and its training.
If you buy a Rottweiler, you have this dog for 8 or 10 years. You have to keep in your mind that this dog needs a certain education, just like everything else, like a child.
Good breeding, good training, dedication and respect. Elements that make a good Rottweiler anywhere on the planet. Rottweilers first arrived in the United States in 1929, and 2 years later the breed was accepted for registration by the American Kennel Club. During their first decade on US soil, the breed was an American rarity. In 1940, the AKC registered only 11 Rottweilers. 20 years later, the Rottweiler population grew, but it grew moderately. According to Susan Rademacher, a second-generation Rottweiler breeder, this was the golden age.
Well, at the end of the 50s, we had a Rottweiler population that was large enough that it would support breed clubs across the country. And we think of it as the golden age because these clubs started and they offered many firsts for the breed. We had our first obedience trials and our first tracking tests and our first confirmation shows. We were introducing it to the population. We were showing the world what great dogs we had. They were fascinated with them because they were big. The ones that they saw were very social. Our dogs were very well behaved then. People who had other breeds and had never seen a dog like this were really attracted to the Rottweiler.
Susan and her aunt Joan Clem are considered among the top Rottweiler breeders and enthusiasts in America. With more than 50 years of experience, they've seen the breed's popularity rise from virtual unknown to near the top of the charts. After steady growth in the middle of the century, by 1994, the Rottweiler was the second most popular dog in America. The meteoric rise was perhaps too much of a good thing. Like all other dogs, the surge in popularity can bring with it complications in breeding, resulting in health and behavior problems.
I hope that the Rottweiler population will continue to decline. I think the public education that we have done and the American Kennel Club is doing, educating people on dog ownership has been a great help. I want to see the Rottweiler being bred to be the all-purpose dog that it is, but basically it's got to live in today's society. It's really got to be the great family pet that it can be.
Responsible owners and breeders emphasize that despite the public perception, with proper training and socialization, the Rottweiler can be a great family dog.
My great-granddaughter has Wolfie, and of course Wolfie is 9 now and my granddaughter is 5. They are so bonded that he goes into her bedroom at night and he usually sleeps there. He checks her in the middle of the night to be sure that she's all right. When she's been someplace, the first thing she asks for when she comes in is, "Where's Wolfie?" They said it very well when they said that Rottweiler is a dog with unfailing good humor. They just have these natural instincts that make them, again, trainable, but make them great family dogs.
As accomplished as Susan and Joan's dogs are, their most important role is that of family member.
Henry's, he's my house dog, and so he's in the house with me all the time. He's the kind of dog that if I'm there, he will bounce all over and play with me because that's what I do with him. If my mother's there or her friends are there, then he's very gentle and he's very caring. He's a great example of an American Rottweiler because he's very adaptable. He's a good cart dog. If I ask Henry to do something new, he does his darndest to do it. He's very social. I can take him anywhere.
There's no doubt that the Rottweiler is amongst the most versatile of dog breeds. But what about the bad dog reputation that went along with the increased popularity? Is a Rottweiler the breed for everyone? The answer is a resounding no.
As wonderful a family dog as they make, they aren't for everybody, you know. This is a strong, hard, working dog. It has to keep its brain working all the time. And if you don't keep it active, and if you don't train it and socialize it, it will take over your house.
If you want to be a Rottweiler owner, then you're taking on the responsibility of a large, strong, intelligent dog who will want to do something. And you're going to have to be prepared to do something with this dog.
By design, the Rottweiler's a lot of dog, maybe too much for most owners. But for those considering bringing one into their homes, first, it's time to read the books. A breed this powerful requires education by both the owner and the dog. An uninformed owner and an unsocialized, untrained dog can be a dangerous combination. This combination has created a stigma that often reflects the Rottweiler in a bad light, an undeserved reputation as a somewhat unsavory breed of dog.
The incidents that occur are usually human error. When we investigate these incidences, we find out again. It certainly isn't the well-trained dog. It is not our obedience dogs. It is irresponsible breeders selling to irresponsible owners. I want them to go to people that can have as much fun with them as we have and as our family has had through the years. And that's what I want for the Rottweiler. A great owner, and I want for the owner this superb utility family dog.
Unfortunately, because of the breed's popularity and tough guy reputation, they don't always end up with the right owner. But thanks to the efforts of dog clubs and many dedicated breeders like Joan and Susan, it's increasingly possible for the Rottweiler to coexist happily with a family environment. Families who've done their homework, like the Brill family, reap the rewards. So, which is the real face of the Rottweiler? Therapy dog? Class clown? Athlete? Working dog? Tough guy? Or family pet? Well, inside each Rottweiler is probably a little of each. Together with careful breeding and good training, this is the face of one of the most popular house pets in the world today.
I love Sasha.
She's given us a lot of pleasure over the years. She's been, besides protective, she's been a companion. She's a great dog. As a family pet, I couldn't recommend any other pet as well as a Rottie.